For 2 weeks CNN has been telling us that criticism of the political bias of FBI agents is merely an effort to distract from the Russia probe. But their legal expert, Paul Callan, didn't get the message. Paul, we worry about you and your job with CNN.
What do you think, Paul?
You know, I started writing this piece about the whole situation that was raised by Grassley.
Yeah.
And originally, I was angered at the president's attacks on the FBI. I thought they were unjustified. But when I started to delve into the facts, boy, there's some really disturbing stuff here. I mean, what Grassley is talking about is this agent, his name is Struck, and he's a counterintelligence agent for the FBI. He's exchanging text messages with his girlfriend, Lisa Page, which just trash the president. They call him an idiot, and, you know, that language we put up on screen was the mildest of it. But they essentially, the two of them, the lawyer and the agent, agreed that the president, is a threat or would be a threat to the country if elected. Now, he's in a central role in the Hillary email investigation. And as a matter of fact, Struck was the person who went to James Comey just before Comey had that famous press conference where he kind of let Hillary off the hook and said the investigation is going to be dropped into criminal charges. Struck was the guy who changed the language, which originally was that she was grossly negligent in her handling of classified material, and he softened it to say extremely careless, which is not criminal. This is the same guy who the Inspector General now has exchanging these emails, you know, showing that he has a personal bias against the president. So that's what Senator Grassley wants a close look at, and I think it's legitimate to look at the bias of the investigators.
So let me ask you this, because then Republican Congressman Representative Francis Rooney, who we have on this show a lot from Florida, went further than Grassley has. And he said in an interview just yesterday on MSNBC that what is needed is a purge, his word, a purge of the FBI and the DOJ because of it. Just listen to him.
I'm very concerned that the DOJ and the FBI, whether you want to call it deep state or what, are kind of off the rails. Well, I don't want to discredit them. I would like to see the directors of those agencies purge it and say, look, we've got a lot of great agents, a lot of great lawyers here. Those are the people that I want the American people to see and know the good work's being done, not these people who are kind of the deep state.
A purge of the agency?
Well, I think Rooney has a legitimate point about the leadership of the Department of Justice and the leadership of the FBI. We're not talking about field agents, but we're talking about leadership positions. And I'll give you another example that has come up. Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, a huge controversy about his involvement in these Trump investigations because his wife was taking almost $700,000 in contributions from friendly Democratic sources, friends of Hillary Clinton, while he was in the chain of command also of the Hillary investigation and later the Trump investigation. So it just looks like, from an appearance standpoint, that there's bias at the top levels of the FBI.
Christopher Wray, you know, who's leading the agency, there have not been complaints from the administration about him.
Well, no, why would there be? It's not really the same thing, and I'll give you, here's the way I look at it. Now, I'll tell you, when I started to look into this and write about it, I was very anti-President Trump.
You're saying the Mueller team. You're separating the two here.
Well, I think they all kind of merge together ultimately, because if we talk about the McCabe situation, he's the deputy director of the FBI, or at least it was the deputy director of the FBI, and his wife was running for a Senate seat in Virginia, and she took $700,000 in contributions from Terry McAuliffe, who and PACs controlled by him, to support her in that campaign. And he then is in the chain of command of the Hillary email investigation. Now, that would be like if the FBI, let's say they were investigating a bank, and do you think they'd let an agent investigate a bank if his wife was taking a $700,000 loan from the bank? No, they'd pull the agent from that investigation.
Let me ask you this, though. As you know, the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein testified before Congress just a few weeks ago. He was asked and really hammered on questions over political bias within the agency. Here's one of his answers. He said, quote, "It's important to recognize that when we talk about political affiliation," he went on to say, "the issue of bias is something different." So what he's saying is there can be a line there. These are humans who can have beliefs, etc. that does not translate into bias. Where is that line in your opinion? And is there anything that clearly, do you think, outlines that?
Oh, I think there's a clear line, and it's a common sense line. If your wife is taking $700,000 from the Democrats, maybe you shouldn't be handling the investigation of who's going to be the next president of the United States. That's a clear line, in my view.